hold, the bitcoinhold.com. The Bitcoin self-custody is the whole. Find the strength inside your soul. Your the bitcoinhold.com.
Imagine buying the heaviest, most secure steel vault in the world.
Okay.
You know, you have installed in your basement, you spin the massive dial, lock your entire life savings inside, and you just sleep soundly.
Right. You feel totally safe.
Exactly. But what you don't know is that the manufacturer, they made this tiny error on the assembly line. Like, before shipping that vault to you, they accidentally set the combination of every single lock they produced to 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, which is just a terrifying illusion of security.
Right.
I mean, the steel is thick, the door is heavy, but, you know, the underlying secret keeping it locked is completely predictable to literally anyone who knows how the factory operates.
It's the ultimate false sense of safety. And welcome to this deep dive on the Bitcoin hole. Today, we are analyzing what is frankly a massive stack of sources. We've got vendor security advisories, on-chain autopsy reports, developer commits, cryptography audits, because we really need to unpack what is arguably the most consequential week in Bitcoin self-custody history.
Without a doubt, it's been a wild week.
We are dissecting the catastrophic entropy vulnerability discovered in CoinKite's Coldcard hardware wallets. Specifically, the MK2, MK3, MK4, MK5, and the Q models.
Yeah.
And look, millions of dollars in Bitcoin have already been drained.
Right. But we really need to establish a vital distinction right up front for anyone, you know, holding their breath listening to this.
Yeah, please.
This was not a physical hack of the hardware.
Okay.
Like, nobody brute forced a pin, nobody extracted a chip, and nobody installed some malicious outside firmware.
Right.
This was a critical silent failure in the randomness generation, the entropy.
Yeah.
That essentially underpins the entire mathematical creation of your private keys.
So it's math failure, basically.
Exactly.
Well, let's unpack this for you, because our mission for this deep dive is to cut straight through all the panic on social media right now and just focus on first principles.
Yeah, we need to stay grounded here.
We are going to explain the exact technical failure, identify precisely who is at risk, and give you a concrete step-by-step migration plan if you are exposed.
Which is crucial.
And then we're going to discuss the brutal lesson this industry must learn about single points of failure. Because Bitcoin self-custody, it is a serious craft, and this week proves exactly why.
It really does. And honestly, the fact that this vulnerability just sat there unnoticed in open source code for years, it's a humbling reality check for the entire ecosystem.
Oh, totally.
So to understand how this actually happened, we have to look at the architecture. Back in March 2021, with the release of firmware version 4.0.1, CoinKite updated its cryptographic library to use Bitcoin Core's libsec 256K1.
Wait, I want to pause there for a second, because that just looks like alphabet soup on paper. What actually is libsec 256K1?
Right, yeah, it's a mouthful. Think of it as the foundational mathematical engine of Bitcoin.
Okay.
It's the specific elliptic curve cryptography library that handles, you know, the creation and verification of public and private key pairs.
Got it.
It's the gold standard. It's heavily vetted by Bitcoin Core developers. But to implement this engine on the Coldcard, the developers used an embedded MicroPython fallback system.
And from what I understand, just a single tiny instruction in that fallback system unraveled the whole thing, right?
Yeah, a single preprocessor guard.
Wow.
When developers write software, they use these preprocessor macros that kind of act like traffic cops for the compiler.
Okay, the compiler being the tool that turns the readable code into actual machine logic.
Exactly. So there was this safety check written in the code. In plain English, this instruction basically tells the compiler, if the hardware random number generator is not defined, throw an error and stop.
So it's a failsafe.
Right, a failsafe.
Right.
But they didn't leave it undefined. They defined it as 0.
Wait, literally just the number 0?
Literally just a 0.
Yeah.
So the traffic cop waved the vulnerability right through.
Oh my God.
Because the macro was technically defined, even though its value was a literal 0, the compiler just skipped the safety check entirely.
So what does that actually mean for the device when it's generating a seed?
It means it silently bypassed the hardware's true random number generator, the TRNG, and fell back to a highly predictable software pseudo-random number generator, a PRNG.
So instead of measuring pure, unpredictable physical chaos, like thermal noise across a circuit board or the microscopic timing differences of electrons, the device was just picking numbers from a tiny, predictable mathematical loop in the software.
Exactly. And the bit-level reality of that software loop is really alarming, especially for the older models.
Yeah, let's talk about the MK3.
Right, so on the MK3 models, this failure limited the entropy to roughly 40 bits.
40 bits?
Yeah. And to put that in perspective, 40 bits of entropy means there are only about 1 trillion possible seeds.
Which, that sounds like a lot to a human, right? 1 trillion is a huge number.
It sounds huge, yeah.
Yeah.
But an attacker can guess your exact seed phrase in a matter of hours using standard off-the-shelf gaming computers.
Okay, wait. I really need to push back on this because I know people are looking at their metal backup plates right now and just scratching their heads. If I bought an MK3 and I physically watched the screen generate a 24-word seed phrase, shouldn't that inherently give me 256 bits of security? Like, I'm looking at 24 completely different words from the BIP 39 dictionary.
Yeah, that is perhaps the most dangerous misconception in Bitcoin custody right now.
Really?
Oh, absolutely. We have to violently separate the presentation of a seed from the actual randomness used to pick it.
Okay, break that down for me.
Think of the 24 words as just a translation of a raw number.
Okay.
If I ask you to pick a number between 1 and 10, right, and then I translate your choice into a complex, beautifully written 24-word poem.
Right.
The poem itself looks incredibly complex, but there were still only 10 possible poems I could have ever handed you.
Oh, wow. Okay, so the dictionary doesn't create the randomness.
Exactly.
The math underneath does.
Right. The MK3 presented you with 24 words, but because the math underneath only possessed 40 bits of randomness, attackers don't need to guess combinations of 24 words.
They just ignore the words.
Totally. They bypass the words entirely. They just iterate through the underlying 40-bit search space, which again takes hours, and then they generate the 24 words themselves to see if they unlock a wallet with a balance on the blockchain.
That is wild. Okay, so that's the MK3. But the newer models, the MK4, MK5, and the Q, they are slightly better off, right? But it wasn't even intentional. It was like a complete architectural accident.
Yeah, it was pure luck. Honestly. In 2022, a firmware patch was introduced that opportunistically mixed in randomness from 2 secure elements on the board, SE1 and SE2.
Okay, so a backup to the backup.
Exactly, a sort of belt and suspender approach. Not because they knew the main generator was broken, they just added it as an extra layer. But because of this accidental patch, the entropy on the MK4, MK5, and Q models was bumped up to roughly 72 bits.
But 72 bits is still nowhere near the cryptographic standard, right? Which is, what, 128 bits for a 12-word seed and 256 for a 24-word seed.
Correct. It is well below the safety threshold.
Yeah.
While 72 bits is out of reach for a casual hacker running a laptop in their basement, it is absolutely within reach of a well-funded adversary.
Like a state actor.
Or even a highly organized cybercriminal syndicate renting massive amounts of GPU cloud compute. They can crack 72 bits. If you generated a seed on one of these newer models relying solely on the device, your funds are living on borrowed time.
Okay, well, let's pivot to the exceptions because there is one saving grace for a specific subset of meticulous users, right? The dice roll feature.
Yes. If we look at how the device's firmware processes external data, when you use the add dice rolls feature, the Coldcard takes the broken predictable seed and runs it through a cryptographic hash function alongside the numbers you manually input.
Okay, and a hash function acts kind of like an irreversible blender, right?
Exactly. So if you used at least 50 fair, private, and independent dice rolls, you injected roughly 128 bits of pure physical entropy into that blender.
Okay.
The hash function securely mixed your pristine randomness with the device's broken randomness, and the output is a mathematically secure seed.
But that keyword is crucial, though, right? Independent.
Highly crucial.
Because if you used loaded dice, or if you just typed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 over and over on the keypad because, your arm got tired rolling, or if you took a photo of your dice rolls with your smartphone.
Yeah, if you did any of that, your seed is compromised.
But if you truly rolled casino-grade dice 50 times in a private room, the math holds. You are safe from this specific vulnerability.
You are. But we also need a serious reality check on passphrases.
Yes, let's talk about that.
Because a lot of users are breathing a sigh of relief, assuming their BIP 39 passphrase makes them invincible.
Right.
And it categorically does not.
No. In fact, we already have confirmed on-chain autopsy reports showing a MK3 wallet protected by a two-word passphrase was completely drained by attackers.
Right, because a passphrase just acts as a multiplier to the search space. It doesn't repair a broken base seed.
So if your foundation is weak, the house still falls.
Exactly. If your seed only has 40 bits of entropy and your passphrase is weak, like 2 common dictionary words, the attacker just adds a dictionary attack loop to their automated guessing script.
Wow.
A strong passphrase might buy you a few days of compute time, sure, but it does not buy you absolute safety.
Which brings us to the hidden blast radius of this bug, because it extends far beyond just the primary wallet.
It really does.
Let's say you did everything perfectly, you rolled the dice 100 times, or you generated a perfectly safe seed on a completely different device and just imported it onto your Coldcard.
Yep.
You might think you are out of the woods, but specific advanced features on the Coldcard actually bypass your secure seed entirely and pull directly from that broken hardware random number generator.
Yeah, and this is catching even the most diligent power users completely off guard.
Like BIP85 child wallets?
Yes.
For anyone unfamiliar, BIP85 is a feature where your main seed mathematically spins off separate standalone backup seeds. So you can use it to create a new wallet for a family member without them having any access to your main stash.
Here's the problem. If you used a Coldcard to generate a BIP85 child seed, or a paper wallet, or even a password in the Secure Notes feature, the device just ignored your secure dice-rolled master seed.
Wait, it just ignored it.
Completely.
Well,
The private key for that child wallet is literally just the direct output of the broken 40-bit pseudo-random number generator.
so it's entirely guessable.
Entirely, meaning your daughter's paper wallet is exposed regardless of how secure your main vault is.
Man, okay, I have to stop and ask a clarification question that I know is just burning a hole in everyone's mind right now.
Let's have it.
If I just plug my Coldcard into the wall today, download the newest hotfix, and update my firmware, does that fix my current wallet?
Emphatically no.
Okay, we need to make sure everyone hears that loud and clear. No.
Updating your firmware changes absolutely nothing about the mathematical foundation of the keys you currently hold.
Because the damage is already done.
Exactly. The vulnerability happened at the exact moment your seed was created. Once a weak key is born, it exists in the mathematical universe forever.
Right.
A firmware update only ensures that future seeds generated on that device will use proper randomness. Your existing keys are fundamentally broken. You must move your funds to a newly generated set of keys.
Okay, so you realize your keys are exposed, you grab your device and you prepare to move your funds, but you are about to step into a minefield in the mempool.
Yeah, it's getting crazy out there.
Let's walk through emergency triage. What is the primary directive if a listener is exposed right now?
Do not wait. I can't stress this enough. Do not order a new hardware wallet from a different manufacturer and wait 2 weeks for it to arrive in the mail.
Right, time is of the essence.
Every minute your Bitcoin sits on a compromised MK3 key, it is in a race against attacker algorithms that are actively scanning the blockchain.
So your temporary triage is software.
Yeah.
Download a reputable software wallet to your phone or computer. The Blockstream app or Blue Wallet are solid open source options. Generate fresh keys on your phone.
Right.
And yes, a phone is a hot wallet connected to the internet, but right now, a properly generated hot wallet is infinitely safer than a mathematically broken cold wallet.
100%.
Write down the new seed words, verify the receive address, send a small test transaction, and once that clears, sweep your entire balance immediately.
You are stopping the bleeding. That's step 1. But as you sweep those funds, you have to realize you are engaging in an invisible, high-stakes battle on the network.
The RBF sniping war.
Yeah.
This is straight out of a cyberpunk novel, and we really need to explain how this works. When you try to rescue your funds, you broadcast your transaction to the network, right?
Right.
That transaction goes into the mempool, which is essentially the network's waiting room for unconfirmed transactions. Miners look at the mempool, pick the transactions with the highest fees, and package them into the next block.
But attackers are running automated bots that monitor this waiting room 24/7.
Wow.
When they see a victim trying to move their funds out of a compromised MK3 wallet, the attacker's bot instantly crafts an identical transaction, but swapping the destination address to the attacker's own wallet.
And they can do that because they already have the key.
Exactly. Because the attacker has already cracked the 40-bit private key in the background, they can mathematically sign this new CEF transaction.
And then they use a protocol feature called replace by fee, or RBF,
Right.
to broadcast their theft transaction with a massively higher miner fee.
Yep.
So the miner looks at the mempool, sees two transactions competing for the exact same coins, and, acting on economic incentives, picks the attacker's transaction because it pays a higher fee.
And the victim's rescue attempt gets sniped right out of the air.
That is just brutal, so they literally steal it in flight.
Basically, yeah. The mempool is a dark forest right now. But the industry defense tactics emerging this week really show the resilience of the Bitcoin ecosystem. We are seeing some incredible countermeasures.
Slipstream is a perfect example of this.
Yes.
Software providers like Nunchuck have integrated a feature called Slipstream, partnering directly with the MAR mining pool.
Which is huge.
It is. This allows users to submit their rescue sweep transactions directly to the MRI miner's private nodes, completely bypassing the public mempool.
Right. The attacker's bots can't snipe what they can't see.
It's a direct backdoor to the blockchain for rescue operations.
It really is. And furthermore, we are seeing grassroots defense from mining pools like Roughnecks, who have voluntarily disabled RBF on their nodes entirely.
Wow.
Yeah, they are actively refusing to process fee replacements to prevent thieves from overriding victim transactions. Miners are literally leaving money on the table to protect the network's users.
That's incredible. Well, look, once your funds are temporarily safe in that hot wallet, you are going to need a permanent cold storage setup. You cannot leave your life savings on your phone forever.
No, definitely not.
When you are ready to rebuild your sovereignty, you need to research devices that don't rely on a single point of failure. And a fantastic free resource for this is the Hardware Wallets comparison tool on the bitcoinhole.com.
Highly recommend it.
You can filter and compare devices from vendors that use multiple independent entropy sources, helping you design a setup that actually lets you sleep at night.
Because the broader lesson here is about architectural redundancy. Over the weekend, while CoinKite was managing this fallout, other wallet manufacturers published detailed audits of their own entropy generation to reassure the market.
Right. Everyone wanted to prove they were safe.
Exactly. Devices like the Bitbox, Foundation Passport, Blockstream Jade, Keystone, and Trezor all avoided this fate, and the mechanism behind their immunity is really crucial to understand.
They combine multiple independent sources of entropy. It's not just one chip doing all the heavy lifting.
Take the Bitbox or the Foundation Passport, for example. They aren't just relying on one microcontroller. They mathematically combine the true random number generator on the secure element chip, plus the TRNG on the general microcontroller chip, plus randomness from the host device, like your desktop computer, and sometimes even an avalanche noise source built into the circuitry.
So it's defense in depth.
Exactly.
If one chip has a manufacturing defect, or if a compiler silently ignores a line of code, like we just saw, the other entropy sources cover for it. The hash function blends them all together, and the mathematical randomness is preserved.
And this incident definitively proves the multi-vendor imperative. Relying on a single vendor for a single SIG wallet is fundamentally flawed.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest takeaway here.
It doesn't matter how respected the brand is, how thick the plastic casing is, or how many years they've been in business. Software is written by humans, and humans make catastrophic mistakes.
Right.
The only durable solution against human error is multi-vendor multi-sig.
Let's break down multi-vendor multisig for you real quick. Multisig simply means your wallet requires multiple keys to move funds. Say a quorum of 2 out of 3 keys. But multi-vendor multisig means those 3 keys were generated by 3 completely different hardware devices, designed by 3 different engineering teams at 3 different companies. A Coldcard, a Jade, and a Passport, for example.
Right, because the math protects you from the manufacturer.
Exactly.
If you had a 2 of 3 multisig setup this week, and one of those keys was a compromised Coldcard MK3, your funds were perfectly safe.
Yep.
The attacker might have guessed your Coldcard key, but they couldn't move your Bitcoin because they didn't have the cryptographic signature from your Jade or your Passport. The blast radius is perfectly contained to a single non-critical failure.
And building these setups is no longer the massive headache it was, 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Software tools for sovereign custody have drastically leveled up.
Oh, absolutely.
We saw the Liana version 15.0 release this week, which includes a massive UI rework, and Liana specializes in time-locked multi-sig setups.
And the mechanism there is fascinating. Liana uses features like OPC-SV to create decaying multi-sig quorums directly on the blockchain.
Meaning what, exactly?
Meaning you can have a 2 of 3 setup that automatically degrades to a 1 of 3 setup after a year of inactivity.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And the new user interface makes constructing these complex conditional spending scripts incredibly intuitive without requiring users to interact with the raw code.
That's amazing for broader access, making these high-security setups available to more people. We are also seeing Nunchuk introduce automated key rollover features.
Yes, this is huge.
If you realize one of your multi-sig keys is compromised, you can seamlessly rotate that bad key out and replace it with a fresh one. The software handles the complex coin control under the hood, ensuring you don't accidentally consolidate all your UTXOs and destroy your on-chain privacy during the migration.
It's phenomenal. And, looking through the frontier, we're seeing innovations that might eliminate the need to trust hardware random number generators entirely.
Yes, the work being done by FrostSnap on verifiable distributed key generation. It's a total paradigm shift.
It really is.
I want to spend a minute on this because it honestly sounds like magic to me. How do you mathematically verify randomness without a central authority? Like, how do three devices create a shared secret without ever knowing the full secret or trusting the other two?
It uses cryptographic commitments.
Okay.
In FrostSnap's protocol, each device in a multi-sig quorum contributes a random secret to create a single group key.
Right.
But before they combine them, they use a commitment scheme. Imagine all the devices writing down a prediction, sealing it in an envelope, and placing it on the table before anyone opens theirs.
Ah, okay.
No single device can wait to see what the others generated and then tweak its own randomness to bias the final key.
So they are mathematically locked into their contribution before the final key is computed.
Exactly. The devices mathematically verify using zero-knowledge proofs that their specific entropy was actually included in the final wallet secret.
Wow.
It completely removes the need to blindly trust that a piece of silicon from a factory actually did what it promised to do. The trust is placed entirely in the mathematics of the quorum.
So, what does this all mean for you, the person holding the keys? The brutal, necessary takeaway from this week's deep dive is that Bitcoin self-custody is a serious responsibility.
It is.
Entropy is everything. The pure, unadulterated randomness of your key is the only thing standing between your wealth and a highly adversarial world. Convenience must never come at the cost of a single point of failure.
Well said. And I'd like to leave you with a final thought to mull over.
Yeah, go ahead.
While this incident is deeply painful and costly for those directly affected, it is exactly this kind of severe adversarial stress test that makes the Bitcoin ecosystem anti-fragile.
That's a great point.
Every time a centralized point of failure collapses, the market learns, adapts, and hardens. The shift we are about to see toward verifiable multi-party computation and multi-vendor multi-sig might mean that, a few years from now, we will look back at the idea of blindly trusting a single piece of hardware to generate our keys as a primitive, obsolete practice.
Yeah, like why did we ever do that?
Right. We are building a financial system that assumes everything is compromised, and yet the math still holds.
That is the unmatched power of this network. The Steel Vault might have had a broken lock this week, but we are learning how to build vaults that don't rely on trust at all.
Absolutely.
If you found this emergency report valuable, please take a moment to rate the show and leave us a comment on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. It really helps us get this critical information to more people who need it to secure their sovereignty.
Thanks for listening, everyone.
Until next time, stay sovereign, stay safe, and verify everything.
Hold your own keys. Stay sovereign. The Bitcoin hold. The Bitcoin hold.